He was 34 years old when he took power, a captain, the lowest ranking officer to ever lead a country in modern African history. He had no political party, no foreign backing, no billion-dollar fortune, no international allies, no plan that anyone outside his inner circle had ever seen. 3.5 years later, here is the list of what he has done. Every item on this list is documented, every number is sourced, every claim is verifiable, and when you reach the end of this list, you will understand why the Western establishment wants this man gone, why 5 assassination attempts have failed, and why an entire continent is watching a young captain in green fatigues rewrite the rules of what is possible in Africa. Welcome to Redline Africa. I am Amara Diallo. Subscribe right now because today we are assembling the complete record. Everything Captain Ibrahim Traore has done since September 30th, 2022, in chronological order, with every number, every date, every consequence. No mainstream outlet has ever put this list together in one place. We are about to change that. Hit subscribe, hit like, and share this video before you finish watching it. Because every African alive today deserves to see what one man did with 3.5 years and $3,000 a year. Let us begin. September 30th, 2022. Captain Ibrahim Traore overthrows Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba in a military coup. He is 34 years old. He becomes the youngest head of state on the African continent and one of the youngest in the world. He inherits a country at war. Jihadist groups linked to Al Qaeda and Islamic State control approximately 40% of the national territory. Over 2 million people are internally displaced. The economy is collapsing. French troops occupy sovereign soil, and the political class that governed for decades left behind a legacy of corruption, dependency, and failure. His first act is not to move into a palace. His first act is not to give himself a raise. His first act is to launch a military recruitment campaign. 50,000 volunteers join the armed forces within months. January 2023, Captain Ibrahim Traore orders France to withdraw its remaining 400 Special Forces soldiers from Burkina Faso. The troops that were supposed to fight terrorism but had failed to stop the insurgency from spreading are told to leave. France complies. By February, the last French soldier is gone. For the first time since independence in 1960, there are no foreign troops on Burkinabe soil. Think about what that means. For 63 years, from the day Charles de Gaulle granted nominal independence to a country France never truly let go, foreign soldiers had been on Burkinabe land, sometimes openly, sometimes through bilateral agreements that gave France the right to intervene whenever it chose, and in a single decision, a 34-year-old captain ended it. The French government protested. The Western media called it reckless. Analysts predicted a security collapse. None of that happened. The security situation improved, not because of foreign help, because the Burkinabe military was finally fighting for itself, under a leader who had fought alongside them in the trenches before anyone gave him a title. February 2023. Ibrahim Traore's government publicly proposes a federation with Mali. Niger is invited. The 3 Sahel nations, all under military leadership, begin the formal process of creating the most significant African alliance since the Organization of African Unity. This proposal was mocked in Western capitals. 3 military governments, 3 of the poorest countries in the world, 3 nations under jihadist siege, and they were talking about a federation. The mockery lasted exactly as long as it took for the alliance to start producing results, June 2023. The Council of Ministers announces that Captain Ibrahim Traore has decided to keep his captain's salary. He rejects the presidential salary of approximately $76,000 per year. He will continue earning between $3,400 and $6,800 annually, the same paycheck as any captain in the Burkinabe Armed Forces. He reverses the salary increase that his predecessor had approved for government officials. Ministers are told to take pay cuts of up to 50%. This decision defined his presidency. Because in a continent where the presidential office is the gateway to personal wealth, where the salary is the least of what leaders collect, where the real money comes from contracts and kickbacks and offshore accounts, Ibrahim Traore removed himself from that architecture entirely. You cannot bribe a man who earns $3,000 and does not want more. You cannot corrupt a man who lives in a barracks and does not want a palace. You cannot compromise a man whose lifestyle has no luxury that can be taken away. This is not symbolism. This is structural anti corruption, and it is the foundation on which everything else was built. July 2024. The Alliance of Sahel States is formally established. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, three nations, one military alliance, a unified force of 5,000 soldiers launched in Bamako in December 2025, joint operations against jihadist groups, a shared commitment to sovereignty, economic independence, and the rejection of Western military and financial control. AES television launches, AES radio begins broadcasting, AES print media is established. A media ecosystem is being built to counter the narrative dominance of Western and French language outlets, information sovereignty, because Captain Ibrahim Traore understood what many leaders do not, that the information war is the first war. And you cannot win the physical war if you have already lost the information war. July 2024. Burkina Faso adopts a new mining code. The state's minimum free shareholding in mining projects is raised from 10% to between 15 and 30%. The government gains the right to buy at least 30% additional interest in any project. Mining permit durations are slashed from 20 years to 10. The Mining Development Fund is established to channel revenue into local development and national security. August 2024. The government nationalizes the Bungo and Wanion gold mines for $80 million. These are the first nationalizations. They will not be the last. November 2023. The Council of Ministers approves the construction of Burkina Faso's first national gold refinery, a refinery designed to process 150 tons of gold annually. For the first time, Burkina Faso will stop shipping raw ore to European refineries and start producing its own gold bars. December 2024. The refinery unveils its first domestically produced gold bars. For the first time in history, Burkinabe gold is processed on Burkinabe soil. The same month, the government buys back Air Burkina for one symbolic CFA franc. The national airline is nationalized. Also, in December 2024, Ibrahim Traore dissolves his entire government and replaces the prime minister, a complete reset. New ministers, new priorities, a signal that no one is safe from accountability, not even the people closest to the president. January 2025. A fifth coup attempt is foiled. It is described as involving actors connected to foreign intelligence services operating through diplomatic missions. 5 attempts in 3 years. All 5 failed. Every single one made him stronger. The same month, Ibrahim Traore's government orders the dissolution of all political parties in the country. More than 104 parties dissolved, their assets seized. The party system that had served as an instrument of neo-colonial management for decades ended. January 2025, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger ban entry for U.S. citizens. A reciprocal measure after Trump's administration placed visa bans on citizens of all 3 countries. The AES did not beg. It did not negotiate. It applied the same rules to America that America applied to it. March 2025. Burkina Faso achieves food self-sufficiency. For the first time in the country's history, the nation can feed itself from its own agricultural production. Ibrahim Traore personally oversees the distribution of $160 million worth of agricultural equipment and inputs to rural farmers. The country becomes the first former French colony to produce tomato concentrate domestically. April 1st, 2025. Captain Ibrahim Traore proclaims the Popular Progressive Revolution. Named after Thomas Sankara's Democratic and Popular Revolution of 1983. The Revolution Manifesto is unveiled in a ceremony on the anniversary date. Thousands march on Tom Sankara Boulevard in Ouagadougou. The perpetrators of Sankara's 1987 assassination are sentenced to life imprisonment in absentia, June 2025. 5 gold mining assets, including 2 operating mines and 3 exploration licenses, are formally transferred to state control via presidential decree. SOPAMEB, the state-owned mining vehicle, now holds direct ownership of strategic mining assets across the country. 2025 full year. Burkina Faso produces 94 tons of gold, the highest annual output in the nation's entire history. At international prices, that gold is worth over $6 billion. Record production under state control, with domestic workers processed in a domestic refinery. The same year, the National Company for Precious Substances collects over 8 tons of gold in 2024 and 11 tons in the first quarter of 2025. For the first time, Burkina Faso is building a national gold reserve. January 2025. The external debt of $4.7 billion is cleared. Zero external debt, no more IMF conditions, no more World Bank structural adjustment, no more foreign creditors dictating economic policy. Captain Ibrahim Traoré described it simply: "We have reclaimed our financial independence." March 9th, 2026, Burkina Faso unveils its National Development Plan for 2026 to 2030. The Relance Plan, $64 billion, the largest economic program ever proposed in the Sahel region, two-thirds funded from domestic revenue. Poverty target, 42% to 35%. Life expectancy target, 61 to 68 years. GDP growth target, 6 to 7% annually. April 3rd, 2026. Ibrahim Traoré goes on national television and tells the country to forget about democracy. Democracy kills, he says. Look at Libya. The Western media explodes. He does not care. He is not performing for the Western press. He is building a country. April 15th, 17th, 2026. 118 NGOs dissolved, called imperialist laboratories. Days later, 359 more associations dissolved. Total, nearly 500 organizations shut down in 2 weeks. April 16th, 2026, Sofitex nationalized, $607 million, 80% of Burkina Faso's cotton production, 4 million livelihoods, full state control. The same week, the Electoral Commission is dissolved. $870,000 per year redirected. April 22nd, 2026. Captain Ibrahim Traoré visits a prison. The Baporo Agricultural Correctional Center, his first prison visit as president. He walks through 40 hectares of cornfields cultivated by inmates during the dry season. He says, "Prison should be humane. We are not barbarians. We are not cruel." The Western media does not report this. Now, here is the summary, because seeing it listed is one thing. Seeing the totals is another. Territory recovered from approximately 60% government control to 73.5%. 13 percentage points of sovereign territory reclaimed from jihadist groups, towns liberated, roads reopened, civilians returning home, gold production, 94 tons, $6 billion, all-time national record, under state control, processed in a domestic refinery, producing domestic gold bars, building a national gold reserve, more gold produced under Ibrahim Traoré's nationalized system than was ever produced under foreign company management. External debt from $4.7 billion to zero. Zero. No IMF, no World Bank, no foreign creditors, no conditions, no structural adjustment, complete financial independence. Even the IMF acknowledged what it called commendable progress in raising domestic revenue. Gold refinery, first in the country's history. First domestic gold bars produced December 2024. 150 tons annual capacity. Value-added processing staying inside the country instead of flowing to Swiss and European refineries. Food self-sufficiency, achieved in 2025 for the first time in the nation's history. $160 million in agricultural equipment distributed. First former French colony to produce tomato concentrate domestically. Burkina Faso feeds itself from its own soil. Sofitex, nationalized April 2026. $607 million, 80% of national cotton production. 4 million livelihoods, full state control. Air Burkina, nationalized December 2024. Bought for 1 CFA franc, the national airline returned to the nation. 5 gold mining assets. nationalized under Sopa Mai B, including Bungu, Wanyan, and stakes in Kiaka being increased to 40%. 104 political parties, dissolved January 2025, assets seized. The party system that served neo-colonial interests for decades ended. Nearly 500 NGOs and associations dissolved April 2026, called imperialist laboratories. Financial transparency requirements enforced. Electoral Commission dissolved. Budget of $870,000 per year redirected to development. Mining Code rewritten July 2024. State minimum at 30%. Permits shortened from 20 to 10 years. Mining Development Fund established. Relance Plan $64 billion over 5 years, two-thirds from domestic revenue, poverty reduction, life expectancy increase, infrastructure, industrialization, French troops, expelled January-February 2023, 400 special forces, gone. For the first time since 1960, no foreign soldiers on Burkinabe soil. U.S. visa ban reciprocated January 2026. The AES applied America's own rules back to America. Russia alliance, defense cooperation memorandum signed, nuclear energy agreements, military equipment, diplomatic partnership. Putin personally invited Ibrahim Traoré to the Russia-Africa Summit, October 2026. 5 coup attempts survived January 2023, September 2023, March 2024, April 2025, January 2026. All 5. Every single one made him stronger. Presidential salary, rejected. Captain's salary retained, $3,000 a year. Lifestyle, military barracks, military vehicle, green fatigues, tactical gloves, no vacation in 3.5 years, no personal social media, no wife in magazines, no luxury of any kind, no palace, no jet, no Bugatti, no Swiss hotel, nothing. Popular support. Loudest applause among 21 African presidents at Ghana's inauguration, January 2025. A Ghanaian filmmaker made a movie about him called The Last African Hero. Not propaganda, inspiration, and the domino effect. Ghana is now requiring foreign miners to transfer operations to Ghanaian companies. Mali rewrote its mining code. Niger revoked Orano's uranium license. Tanzania and Ethiopia are renegotiating. The model is spreading. The proof of concept is contagious. That is the record. That is what one man did in 3.5 years with $3,000 a year in a country that was supposed to fail. Under sanctions, under siege, under 5 assassination attempts, under the constant pressure of a Western establishment that cannot accept what he represents. And what he represents is simple. It is possible. An African nation can govern itself, can feed itself, can mine its own gold, can refine its own gold, can clear its own debt, can build its own development plan, can defend its own territory, can reject foreign control, and can do all of this under a leader who earns less than a taxi driver in New York City. The people who said Africa cannot govern itself pointed to corruption. Ibrahim Traoré earns $3,000. The people who said Africa cannot develop without foreign aid pointed to dependency. Ibrahim Traoré cleared $4.7 billion in debt and rejected the IMF. The people who said Africa cannot manage its own resources pointed to failed nationalizations. Ibrahim Traoré produced 94 tons of gold under state control, a national record. The people who said Africa needs Western troops for security pointed to the insurgency. Ibrahim Traoré expelled the French and recovered 13 percentage points of territory. Every argument they made was an argument against evidence. And the evidence is now overwhelming. This is why the assassination attempts keep coming. This is why the Western media keeps writing the same headlines. This is why the NGOs that were shut down are screaming the loudest. Because what Captain Ibrahim Traoré has built in 3.5 years is not just a country. It is a proof of concept. And a proof of concept, once it exists, cannot be destroyed by killing the man who built it. Thomas Sankara was killed in 1987. His revolution was dismantled. But the idea survived. For 35 years, the idea survived. And now a young captain has picked it up, rebuilt it, and taken it further than Sankara ever could. Because Ibrahim Traore has something Sankara did not: gold revenue, international allies, a unified military alliance, and the internet, which means that every African with a phone can see what he is building in real time and ask, why not us? That question is the revolution, not the coup, not the military, not the gold mines. The question, why not us? That question is now being asked in Accra and Abuja and Nairobi and Kinshasa and Dar es Salaam. And once that question is asked, it does not stop being asked until it is answered. If this list changed what you believe is possible, if it showed you the full record that no mainstream outlet will assemble, then do three things right now. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and send this video to every single person you know who has ever said that Africa cannot govern itself. This is the answer. This is the list. This is the proof. The palace is empty. The debt is zero. The gold is home. The cotton is home. The revolution is not contained. And a young captain in green fatigues is still adding to the list every single week. I am Amara Diallo. I will see you in the next one.